Well, hello, guys. This is Jim with Pete. Welcome. I guess we lost Dr. Bill there for a second. I'm sure he'll be chiming in shortly. So anyway, for those of you guys that have been listening in the past to some of our broadcasts, what we always try to cover and help with is explaining the basics of how to get started in Carrot Bars. What Carrot Bars offers is very unique. And so we invite you to explore and ask questions, to contact us. If you want to reach out to either Pete or I, just get a hold of the radio show, and they'll be glad to give you our contact information, and we'll be glad to have a one-on-one conversation with you.
Back. So please continue the discussion.
Yeah, we were just talking about, just a general overview and to reach out to you to get a hold of us if they needed any kind of individual contact or support. And so that's where we're at.
So now, a lot of times people don't know that they can reach out, do they?
Well, I mean, yeah, if they haven't listened to the show in the past, they wouldn't know that. So, yeah, for those that are listening for the first time, absolutely. If you have questions, you want to know about Carrot Bars, how it works, how you can get started, what's involved, by all means, reach out. Contact the station, and they'll get your contact information to us, and we'll reach out to you. And
well, yeah, the best way to contact us is to go to NutriMedical.com, NutriMedical.com, and or call the 888-212-8871 line, and we'll connect and make sure that we connect you with your upline help with Jim Deal and Pete Fedek, etc. Gary Franchi is involved, by the way. He has a news network, Albany News Network, so that's very important as well.
Okay. Now, Pete, you're coming in kind of fuzzy, Dr. Bill. Pete, you getting the same thing?
Yeah, I know. I'm on a cell phone.
Yes.
Because
there you go.
In Portland, and in Portland, the internet connection at the particular hotel I'm at is not very good. I want to try to see if I can connect by alternative means in just a minute here through my iPad, which is faster processor than my computer. So perhaps we won't drop. Okay, yeah. So why don't you gentlemen just continue talking about why people should involve with the gold by Grand Business, and why, in particular, gold is spiking right now, with all the things that are going on between Europe and America and the controversy in the world economy. There's no better time than to get involved with Carrot Bars right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, Dr. Bill, I read a story just yesterday that I had not heard until literally just yesterday, but the Fed, at least one of the vice presidents or whatever at the Fed, I didn't actually get the quote from which one it was, but it was a guy at the St. Louis Fed has proposed Fed coin.
Oh, no. A cryptocurrency?
So, a cryptocurrency that will be forced upon us, and that is going to open up the door to eliminating the dollar altogether.
Oh, now that's
really
interesting. I wonder how they're going to pull that off. Well, I suspect that that's not going to be a true cryptocurrency if they're going to be involved with it. That would be my guess.
Yes, cryptocurrency is probably the wrong word to use for it, but digital theft is really what that will come down to. Trying to force people to do that.
Well, I guess my question would be, will there be a limited number of these digital currencies, digital coins, or will they be able to create them infinitely? Uh-oh.
That's the issue.
It's a much better connection, isn't it, gentlemen?
Yes, that's better.
Much better.
Well,
they're much better. The high-speed processor in my iPad, believe it or not, computer.
One of the issues with that story, and I don't know all the details. Like I said, I just saw it yesterday. But one of the details, of course, is if they can create a quote unquote digital currency, they want to call it cryptocurrency. There's nothing crypto about it. It's just a digital form. Is that if they can create that at will, it's literally it's not going to do anyone any good. It's literally just purely in not even
the virtual fraction
more to control us.
Yeah. Well, just the fact that they're creating it makes me leery of it.
So, what it is basically is a new version of the fractional currency, but it's not even printed now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, you can. I imagine what they're doing is they're trying to take. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I can.
I imagine they're trying to just take advantage of the appearance of being like a cryptocurrency because it's becoming more popular. So it's kind of
exactly.
But the strategy I've observed over the system, over the powers that be, is anytime something's successful, they try to commandeer it, and then they twist it into their own version and make it look like or appear to be something similar to what other people think when it really isn't. But anyway, I'm sure you probably have some stories to share on that one, Dr. Bill.
Well, I think what happens is the corruption now is about a year and a half ago. Janet Yellen, I guess, she's got a good name. She's yelling for 0%, or below 0%. So now you can get below 0% loans, so you loan $100,000, but you don't have to pay back $100,000 because the actual value of the money is shrinking. And on top of that, they said they can't afford to print money, physical money, because it costs too much to print physical money for the cost of actually having the currency out there. So we're moving toward a cashless system. Now the problem is eventually, with all the hacking, I was just watching last night with my daughter a little promo on season 2 of Mr. Robot. Have you ever heard that series on Amazon TV? Mr. Robot?
Not familiar with it.
It's a cult classic now, moving to season 2, and at the end of season 1, the Mr. Robot and his colleagues actually crashed the world economy. Never anything like post-digital apocalyptic era. And what's happened is the global bankers want to move us toward a cashless system, but to do that, they have to put biometrics in everybody or chip to make sure they can verify that we are actually the person doing the transaction. What they prove with Mr. Robot, and it's actually verified by digital experts on cybersecurity, is that the more that they try to pretend that they're making the system more secure, the more insecure it becomes. And when you don't have money that's backed by real things like gold, you're really asking for trouble. In fact, you're going to get trouble. For example, remember the thing with the Sony record, Sony TV, they had this movie they were going to launch, and they said they're going to do a cyber crash every so many days, and they had succeeded in doing it, terrorizing the movie company, saying you can't release this or that. It was about, I think it was around a movie about North Korea, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'm really having a hard time. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm having a hard time making out everything you're saying, Dr. Bill.
Yeah. Do you remember we talked about that movie with North Korea that was being blocked by cyber terrorism about a year and a half, 2 years ago? Do you remember that?
Yeah, what was the name of the movie?
The movie is a real event that happened, but there's been real events like recent hacking, they call hacking terrorism. And it turns out even the activities of groups like ISIS and ISIL have to have help from the CIA and other agencies because the NSA is prescient and control all cybersecurity on the planet. And what people should understand is that if they're talking about moving to a cashless system, you just have to read your Bible. That's called the mark of the beast. If you give a beastly system that has nothing backing it, where they have everything in their electronic supercomputer, if you don't behave what is their criteria, all they have to do is press alt delete and you don't exist in cyberspace or can buy or sell in the real physical world. Right?
Right.
So I tell people, there's no time like this. I mean, season 2 of Mr. Robot is coming out on July 13th, and what I tell people is it's so easy to get involved with this business. All you have to do is ask your mentor upline to do it for you until the trainer wheels are off and you can make your own calls and show the sizzle call and make a list and get the people downlining you to do the same thing. It's basically a gold-saving club convincing other people to save money grand. That's it. The core of the whole business, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very simple.
There's other
bells and whistles, but I mean, really, that's the core. At the end of, say, 2, 5, 10 years, and you've saved your money and built a network of people, you also have free gold, you built a residual income, but you're also have a bunch of stuff that actually have something that's portable, convertible, and safe away from the fractional reserve currencies where it works by people like y'all and these other financial so-called gurus to move it to a cashless system, which is very dangerous, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely, because then they can track everything.
Well, when we introduce something to the system, and let's say I bump them up to either of you gentlemen, what do you do for them? What's your whole procedure? If they call me, I'm Chip Jones, or my wife's Sally Miller, and we've decided we want to get involved with care partners, and we want to buy, say, the silver package, because we looked over the cost, and we want to get a certain amount of money. We can commit to an hour a day, say, month.
Right. Well, what I do is
what do you do for them?
Yeah, what I do is first of all, I always try to assess where they're itching, and then I scratch that itch. And the way I do that is I find out, what do they want out of this? And of course, do you just like the idea of having a free gold savings account where you can acquire gold at the convenience of your home through a secured, website? Or are you interested in the possibility of generating gold for nothing out of pocket? Or are you looking to build a business? There's three very distinct things there. And if they say they're interested in the former and the first, where they want to just have a free gold savings account, then I just talk to them, or I encourage them to consider the business side of it, but I don't push it. But what I will do is I will ask them, do they know anybody that's sharp that might be interested in a business opportunity promoting this program? So even the person that just wants to open up a free gold savings account, I will talk to them about the opportunity, and I'll say, well, look, maybe you can help me out. You obviously like this product, you like the service, you're willing to move forward to set it up. And by the way, I do that after I help them set up the account. Okay, so I want to be sure I get the account set up. After I get done with that, then I talked about the possibility of other things. I say, you like our service, you set up the account, you probably know some sharp people that might be interested in this as a business, and here's what's involved. And then I tell them a little bit about the business opportunity. And then I'll get more of a feel for them. And sometimes they'll respond, sometimes they won't. They'll say, no, I just want to set this up as a free account for myself. And and I'll say, okay, no problem. If you think of anybody that would be interested in doing the same thing, would you get back to us and let us know? And they say, yeah, sure, we'll do that. And that kind of gives me permission later on, if I think it's worth it, if I get a sense that they're really interested in it, where I might contact them back in a couple of weeks. Just a good idea anyway, as a customer service move, and just say, how's it going? Any questions about the account? Last time we talked, you said if you thought of anybody, you'd recommend them. Have you thought of anybody by chance? And then you just, go from there. Now, for those people that are interested in a free gold savings account, the possibility of acquiring gold for nothing out of pocket, obviously they've given you an open door to kind of, but to explain how this marketing system works and what enables it to generate gold for them or money for them so that they don't have to acquire gold out of pocket. And from there, that's an easy transition into explaining the big picture and the big opportunity and saying, well, look, you may know, all it takes is two good quality people to really build this. And guess what? We'll go out there and we'll train and develop those two people for you. So let's talk about who are people that you know that are sharp. Who do you know? And then I'll go through a little prompting thing with them, and I'll ask them, who do you know? I said, let's play a little game, and I always play what I call the Steam game. And I say, look, you ever played the Steam game? And of course they haven't, because we made it up. And they say no. And I say, well, S stands for a few categories. Who's the sharpest salesman that you know? And get a name and say, what's the best way to get a hold of them? And then you get a contact and all that. And say, who's the sharpest... there's another thing under the S. I don't have the document in front of me. But you go through the different categories under S, and then under T you go under teacher or trainer or something, things along that line, where people in a position where they're communicating or supporting or educating other people. E is for enthusiastic. energetic, entrepreneurial type. So you can go through several categories under E. A is ambitious. M is money aware, money motivated, management. And I go through that, and I find invariably anybody I talk to, when I go through that little memory jogger or that prompter with them, they'll come up with 8 to 10 names. And then I'll zero in on that, and I'll ask them the question, of all these people, who would be the people that you would want, if you were to build a multi-million-dollar business, who are the first 2 or 3 people on this list that you would want to be in your company, to be on your team, the people that you think you would really work well with and that would really go after? And then we narrow it down to 2 or 3 people. And then we get on the phone together, and I just have that prospect on the phone. Of course, I get their permission. I tell them what we're going to do, and then once they agree, we get on the phone together, and I have that prospect on the phone simply for credibility feature. In other words, I could call up those people that he gave me and just say, "Hey, Bob, my name is Jim. We mutually know Bill." And Bill said that you're sharp, and I can just go right through it and Bill not be there. But with Bill being there, I can say, "And Bill told me you're really sharp. In fact, I got Bill on the line. Say hi, Bill." And Bill goes, "Hey, Bob, this is Bill. How you doing, buddy?" "Hey, how you doing?" And then I go on, and that's all that the new affiliate does. He's just there to confirm verbally that he's the one that's recommending me call this guy, and then I just take it from there. And when I go through, and I've got a script for that, and we've got that script out, we can get that to you. And once you go through that, you're going to get some people that are going to be interested and some are not. Now, here's what's really cool. If you get one person out of all that activity that really goes after it, that's going to excite the guy, the affiliate that recommended him. And then he'll think of some more people. If you can get 2, better yet, you place one on the right side, one on the left side, and you're off to the races. And then, of course, guess what I do with those people that I bring in? Exactly the same thing I did with, I guess it was Bob was the affiliate. I get the names mixed up now.
Sure.
Yeah. But anyway, and so repeat and rinse. And the beauty of that system is you're doing the trainer's doing everything. All the affiliate's doing is they're the bird dog. They're pointing where the birds are. I've got the gun. I flush them out. I go out and I catch them, and whatever you want to call it. So, all people do is observe. And what we found is when people go through that system a handful of times, if they're sharp, they're going to say, "Hey, I can do this." Say, "Great, go for it." And then we'll just continue to support them and coach them. And we'll even work with them we'll follow up with them after they've done their first call, or we can even listen in if they want us to give them critique or whatever. But I mean, we take all the thinking out of it. It's just a matter of, we'll educate you on how the system works and explain it. And the beauty of that is when you do those calls with people, you're going to hear that new affiliate. Oh, we're going to break, I guess. So
we are indeed. Great job there, Jim, of explaining how simple it is to get involved with.
How simple?
And my last connections were by Skype are not good from this hotel, so I'll be on the phone now. Hopefully we won't drop all these words. You did a great job, Jim. I hear clearly what you were saying, but obviously my words were scrambled getting to the other end, so in a way that was good because you get to talk more. So, Jim, if you can complete your ideas here, because I really want to convince people this is not just an option. This is like an opportunity of a lifetime, that if you get involved in this Go Back business now, you're not going to be, wringing your hands a year or 2 from now when the economy takes a major hit. You're not going to be wringing your hands when, say, Brexit happens, which is supposed to happen in 2 days' time. If it does, it's very likely the European euro will drop, and you're going to start seeing a domino effect in the economies of the planet. You're not going to wring your hands if a conflict in the Middle East with Russia heats up further, and again, another reason for the economy to crash. So there's I call the devil menu of a half a dozen items that can make not doing this business not just bad idea, but catastrophic. And so, Jim, please complete the idea on how easy it is to just get involved. Call us. We'll get you signed up.
Yeah.
We'll actually do the calls for you. once you feel comfortable, you can take it over, and we can help you reproduce this plan to teach and mentor other people downline. That's how easy it is.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of it is, what I find with most people, not everybody, but a lot of people that come in, they're just kind of intimidated about the idea of going out and calling their friends and stuff. Now, you get some people in there that they'll get into it, and they'll see it, and they'll be excited about it, they'll ask their questions, and they'll just run with it, and that's fine. I recommend that they at least sit in on a couple of calls with us to get the feel of the system so they know how to duplicate it, because we just found that really strong people that can just run with this right away, they don't duplicate well because they try to duplicate themselves, and not everybody's them, if that makes sense.
In other words, if somebody's like a superstar, what you need to do is make it so simple that the average person can reproduce this and teach people downline to them to do the same thing.
Right. Yeah. So this is a system that's duplicatable for the average person, and the nice thing is we come in and we kind of, so to speak, hold their hand right from the beginning, and they just observe. And of course, once they get the feel of it, then they'll go out and they'll do this. They'll feel confident. They'll see that it can be done. They'll hear the common objections that come up over the phone. That was one of the points I was going to make before is, when you actually do this, and I'm talking to these people, and the affiliates on the line listening to me have this exchange with this person, he's hearing the common objections, the common questions, and he's going to learn that by osmosis, basically. It's not like he's having to sit through. That is his training. That's his training period. So not only are we helping him build his business for him, we're also training him so that he can go out in the future and turn right around and do what we did for him for his people. It's it's duplicate, so it's repeat and rinse kind of thing.
Exactly.
And the beauty is you're going to run into some people that are going to run with it, which is fine. That's what you're looking for. I mean, ultimately, that's what you're looking for. But the old saying is your chain is as strong as your weakest link. So you want to build a system that caters and supports the average person, not the superstar. And that's what the system is that we've developed over the years in working with people.
Now, Pete, when you started in this business, you realized that it doesn't matter. The only thing really is that is a limitation is your time limitation. Most people have a half hour to an hour a day, at least 4 days a week, where they can commit to just making lists, calling people, finding if they're interested, and then lining them up for a sizzle call with their upline.
Right.
Can you give us some of the examples of the range of people? I find people sometimes they'll get started and realize, hey, if I check my carrot bars, I could have X number of $1,000, but they haven't been working on their other line because we're putting people down below them on one line, on one leg, and they should realize if they work the other leg, they're going to have a deposit in their carrot bars debit card on Friday. It's that simple. And all I need to do is start, as Dan Geromo used to say, wash, rinse, put in the stack on the side of the dishwasher of the cupboard, and then put the dishes away. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jim. Right. I really appreciate you coming on and explaining all that. Well, we're having some tech problems here, but we will be back in a moment with Pete Fettig, and we'll see you next week with much better audio back at the ranch in North County, San Diego, tomorrow.
My pleasure, guys.
While we're on break there a minute ago, Pete, I decided to put up this idea of a cryptocurrency for the Federal Reserve, and I got a slew of articles. It's amazing. In fact, one of the latest ones was just June 7th from theobserver.com, and they call it FedCoin, FEDCOIN, and it says that the top of the article here is FedCoin, when the central bank copies Bitcoin. The media love to publish articles about the obituaries of Bitcoin, but one group of decision makers looks more and more convinced that digital currencies are central bankers. Wow. I mean, this is scary stuff, isn't it? And people don't understand if it's not backed by anything. They can devalue it, they can seize it, just by pressing a few clicks. Just like Mr. Robot, the hacker. In other words, the hacktivists may become the bankers. What do you think?
That's exactly right. That's the really sick part is that it can be. It's not a true cryptocurrency, like I was saying before. It's just a digital ripoff,
right?
And not backed by anything. Not even a semblance of. It's not even a note that can have the semblance of being able to be redeemed. It's just a pure ripoff, and people's savings will go poof just like that overnight, or not even overnight, just in a flash.
Yeah, and the problem is that some of these cryptocurrencies have been hacked. In I just read about one the other day that was by a Russian, American that set up this currency, and it got apparently hacked, and it's currently devised, but apparently there's now literally worldwide hundreds of these cryptocurrencies. But if the Fed goes crypto, remember, 2/3 of all the printed dollars of the U.S. Fed Reserve dollars in the world are already, in a sense, in cyberspace. They're not physically printed.
That's
now,
right.
if they go totally crypto, it means basically they'll have control of every transaction. They'll know what you bought, when you bought it, how you bought it. They'll know the color of your socks. They'll know which team you support. They'll know what magazines you order. You have a total open window to everything you do. And if they decide that you can't buy ice cream at the grocery store, they'll shut down even the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
They can cross-index it with your medical records. They can score you on some scoring platform to determine if you're not socially acceptable, like they have in China, to determine if you even get a job. And believe it or not, they've actually started that last year, that your social score determines whether or not you actually get employed. So I tell people it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of that Mr. Robot is not just kind of like an asocial hacktivist, that it's the bankers now. The bankers are copying the worst of the bad aspects of cryptocurrencies, and none of the good ones. For example, when you talk about a currency backed by gold, it's totally different. It's exchangeable. It can be used across the world, and it is actually physically backed by gold, which can't be, amplified or played with. Which is why gold by the gram, especially in this kind of network that's LBMA certified gold, is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
It's an amazing thing in a world where cyberspace things happen even before the physical world, isn't it? Like this new series, Mr. Robot. And unfortunately, a lot of people are still caught in we call a job market, where they think things are the way they used to be. And we see our blue-collar jobs being shipped like crazy around the world with NAFTA and the free trade agreements like TTIP and TTP, which are supported by monsters like Hillary Clinton. And of course, the people within the Republican Party who are also part of the globalist scheme to turn America into another trade zone and have open borders so they swell our population to 1 billion people over the next 20 years that are not Americans and not with American culture. What they're doing is they're gradually destroying the independence of people and turning it into us into cyberspace nodes, like the Promise software, and what I found out when I took care of employees working at the Virtual World Project at Schriever Air Force Base, a primary node for the coming matrix that the bankers want to institute. And having a Fed Reserve cryptocurrency, which will be millions of times bigger than any of the cryptocurrencies in terms of total transactions, Fedcoin could be very scary, couldn't it?
It could be indeed very scary. Can be indeed very scary.
Well, if you want to give your kids $20, you couldn't do it regularly. You'd have to give it to them through electronic transfer, and they know exactly what time, where you gave it. They probably even know the GPS coordinates where you did the transaction.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, because these transactions are going to be so easily hackable, it means you got to have a mark. Digital currency basically means you're going to have biometrics and probably a chip or tattoo to make sure that the actual transaction was done by you, not someone else.
Right.
Because the more that you make these things virtual and hackable, the more you need biometrics and an actual mark in the person to make sure everything they have, including the records, can't be scrambled or stolen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like taking Mr. Robot and putting him on crack cocaine. It's like, the witches, they call the Sorcerer's Apprentice, where you chop the broom up and you have 1,000 brooms. Now you've got thousands and thousands of clones of Mr. Robot, but now they work for the Federal Reserve and the government and the globalists.
Mm-hmm.
That's scary stuff.
Yeah, it is.
So it's like the Sorcerer's Apprentice meets Mr. Robot. How's that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. People say, well, then why do I want to do? There's say 6 other companies that sell gold by the gram, but they don't build a network. They don't save points to infinity. They don't allow you to not only save gold by the gram, but introduce it to other people and actually build a network where you get free gold. There's so many features that are built into the Carapar system. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is. Truly amazing.
Tell us some of the kind of like, without names, but maybe your first name, some of the stellar stories that you've had or other people have had, like Dan Jeromo, of people that took off. We have, that lady Nitsa Nakos a little over a year ago. In 1 year, built a network of 18,000 people. I think by last July of last year, this is 6 months before Dan Jeromo died of heart failure and heart attack, he had built a network while he was sick of something like over 100,000 people. I think it was 140,000 or something downline. And I think that's a period of, 4 or 5 years?
I can't quote that number, but that is definitely
in the ballpark.
In the ballpark,
well over
yes.
100,000. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah, and because of that, he's built a fortune that continues on for his family long after his unfortunate demise and over the holidays, Christmas holidays. Plus, they have an ability to do transactions. For example, because they could have the gold stored in the bank in Stuttgart, Germany, they could do transactions to exchange gold value electronically, which allows them to replace it for a cash or credit cards. And there's other features coming along down the line, including more advanced features on the K exchange, and even kiosks that'll give you the Carapar cards or currency. And there's new currency notes coming out in not only 1/10 of a gram gold, but 2/10, 4/10, 6 and 8/10 of a gram. And the cards, of course, can be specialized cards for promoting your business, especially cards regarding sports teams, limited edition cards, and so on that have greater value even than the gold in them. Can you tell us a little bit about that, too? Because this can be promotional. It can also connect you to a network of other people that can use your business and pay you or buy services in Carapars. So we've signed up in our back office to be one of those companies that will accept Carapar's currency to pay for supplements or technology or consultations.
Well, firstly, I just wanted to make the observation that the specialty cards and the collector cards are in effect numismatic cards, because they're limited edition. It's like literally in the coin world, when you have a misstruck coin or a limited mintage coin and so forth, you end up with what's called a numismatic coin. And in this case, we have numismatic cards, because the cards are of specialty, and they hold a higher premium. And so it's great not just for people to get the gold to use it in commerce and to store their wealth, but it's also it can become a hobby. So your avenues in talking to people actually broaden because of that. And so we have the K Exchange network that's coming online as we speak, and so you can bring your favorite businesses on board just by introducing them to this card and showing them. And there's no reason a business wouldn't want to have an additional way to receive payment. And of course, there are all kinds of different positive fallout from becoming a merchant that accepts Carapars as a form of payment. And so, folks, it's just a real, it's a well thought out and very future great future visionary concept, and we really encourage people to just to delve in. And it's not just about making a little bit of money here and there. There are so many things that can be done with this program, and it's a real benefit for everybody, and it's a positive step, not just a fear step or something like that. We're not forcing anybody into it. It's real money and something of value that you can cling to, because that's what gold is. It's a store of value, and it's a way to preserve your purchasing power and to store your wealth.
I think gold is, from what I understand, gold is taking off in silver by ratio, and it's now heading toward $2,000 an ounce. Is that correct?
It's definitely it's headed that way, and I believe it's going to be going beyond that.
Oh, I think so. I think that this year, the first event that I think is going to be a big thing is in 2 days, which is Brexit. And even with the death of that minister that was pro staying within the European Union, I'm pretty sure that the margins are so big now that they can't steal the vote, and it's most likely that you're going to see Britain leave, which means it's going to force an economic reevaluation of the value of the euro, and most likely going to also result in the formation of a superstate of Europe to deal with the collapse. That most likely is going to be a domino effect that will affect derivatives and the value of the dollar and its buying power. And the dollar is 90% of world currency, is the Federal Reserve note. And there are European and American banks that are integrated in the system. What it means is it's got to drag down the value of the dollar and its buying power. It's going to happen. And it probably will happen pretty soon, in a matter of the next few weeks.
It could be. I haven't heard a timetable for that, but I know I heard it was coming up.
Well, you don't have to have an exact timetable. I mean, if you're off by 90 to 180 days, it's still within this year. My guess is before the fall, you're going to see at least a 20 or 30% correction in the value of the U.S. dollar in terms of buying power, and a 50% plus for the euro, and other currencies will fare even worse.
Yeah, that's probably very likely. Very likely.
The Chinese set up a gold-backed yuan, but the problem is, if you're exchanging the gold-backed yuan and wanting to sell and buy goods that are with other countries that are still using fractional reserve currency, that doesn't fix the system. Now, if you had a gold-backed, Bretton Woods system where all currencies were backed as a basket of currencies with gold, that's a different deal. But they don't have that set. They don't have a fixed ratio between the currencies and gold backing all of them. As a result, unless you have actual separate currency, which is in gold, which is care bars, because it's not just a gold savings, it actually is a currency, isn't it?
Right. Exactly.
So, what would you say to someone who is waffling on the issue today? You say, well, I don't know if I have the time or this and that. If you can muster together the cost of a coffee daily, $54 a month to buy a gram of gold, if you can even start with the bronze package, if you can spend time building a list of 5 to 20 people and get your upline to connect them, in no time at all you can have a downline of, within a matter of weeks, tons of people, and within a year, 1,000 people. That means you've got a residual income, you've got free gold, and you actually have some security, because a gram of gold during the Weimar Republic would buy a Volkswagen or a vehicle. A gram of gold back in 1929 would buy you 22 loaves of bread. And interestingly, a gram of gold will still buy you 22 loaves of bread today. But a dollar, which is the value back then, which is equivalent to a gram of gold, would buy you 22 loaves of bread, but today it won't buy you a full loaf of bread. It'll buy you maybe half or a quarter of a loaf of bread. Depending on how high-tech the bread you get, or how non-GMO and organic it is.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Now, Pete, do you have any kind of testimonial stories of people you've got downline that have just really gotten with the program? What have they taught you? Because obviously we get taught as we motivate other people downline. And a lot of them have business skills and natural abilities, or just a way of training other people below them that is very instructive for us. What have you learned?
Well, everybody has a different story, and the thing is, the people that I have seen flourish with this opportunity are really the people that have come on board and not just watched through their living room window, so to speak, but actually picked up the phone and made phone calls, made a list, and talked to people and introduced people and not be afraid of showing them what real money looks like. And sometimes it does take a little bit of education, but that's part of just about any opportunity for that matter.
Robertson.
And welcome back. And Pete, when people took a look at their physical health or financial health, I'm a doctor not only of people's physical and functional medical health, and we go well beyond allopathic medicine. There's things in allopathic medicine and surgery that are very valuable and very useful. Surgery, emergency department work, and so on. But the same thing with financial things. You have to face reality and identify the problem. The first and biggest problem we have in the world is we have fractional reserve currencies where bankers and politicians can manipulate the population by printing money that they don't have. And then they buy our votes with things with our future and the future debt that our grandchildren will have to pay. Eventually, they have to devalue the currency because the currency no longer will pay for all the things they want to promise us. And if you have a non-fractional reserve currency that's backed by something like gold, which is the most stable thing to have, and it has an infinite downline that allows you to build a business, you've got a magic formula of three things. Firstly, a currency that can't be devalued, can't be manipulated by the bankers or the politicians. And thirdly, its stability allows you to be able to do transactions around the world. So you can do your business with K-Exchange using Karatbars as a currency. So eventually it's not just a gold saving club. It allows you to buy and sell. Let's say, as I mentioned before, an example of someone that's a leather worker in Colombia or, say, Rio de Janeiro, and he's buying Italian and Norwegian and Russian and whatever leather to build various, exclusive goods maybe sold back in like Saks Fifth Avenue in New York or his own stores in Sao Paulo, Brazil. He wants to have a stable currency so he could use his Karatbar currency to buy the leather goods he needs in order to be able to have a good margin. Same way as buying vehicles. At some point, people are going to realize that the vehicle manufacturers will accept Karatbars as a payment for vehicles because it's stable, where the local currency isn't stable. It's being devalued, which makes it impossible to stay in business because you can't maintain margins. And if you don't have margins, you don't have the difference between profit and cost to maintain business. And the same way with people's pension funds. If your funds are funded by international stocks and bonds and they're being devalued because the derivative market is down, you've got to have something that can't be manipulated by an external force, and that is your own personal wealth management program called Karatbars. We have people, too, that have a lot of money, and they not only want to get involved with the business, they want to convert a lot of their wealth to Karatbars so they have the portability and the guarantee. And they could buy anything like antiques, but then you got to buy or sell it in fractional reserve currencies, which is better. You can buy gold and silver coins. It's better, but it's not as good as having Karatbars, because Karatbars isn't just going to be bought and sold in cryptocurrencies. It is itself a currency. That's pretty neat, isn't it?
It is. It is. I mean, giving people the opportunity to find an escape, if you will, from what's headed this way is an incredible opportunity for people to change the landscape for their own good and to share that with others and effectively save people.
Exactly.